They are. If you want to tune into Zest versus Nightmare, they are in the ace match, and they are currently being casted by Renegade.
There we have it. Twitch.tv/Renegade X
Studios.
Renegade Studios.
Renegade X.
It was one or the other. Renegade X Studios. It was one or the other or the other.
There you go. There you go. So it is being casted in English. If you do want to check that out, head over on his Twitch channel. As, again, they are in the ace match.
There are Nightmare versus... That really is a Nightmare, the cast. Well... It's pretty good. Anyway, that is not the series that we are casting. We are instead casting Solar versus Stats. A best of 5 semifinals going on over here. We're in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner of Submarine LE. A Bluezug player. He is going to be representing KZ Gaming. KZG. He is Solar.
And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Submarine LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the most recent Home Story Cup, Stay-at-Home Story Cup champion. He is, of course, red. It is Stats.
The new best friend of Take TV.
There you go. I didn't watch the finals. I didn't know if there was something there.
Oh, they made a graphic because Cyril won the last 5, if I'm not mistaken. 4 or 5 Home Story Cups, and say a Home Story Cup. And that's finally broke that streak.
He did it. He was able to break the chain.
My God.
Boy, and we'll see if Solar can break the chain again. He isn't really known for this matchup. Honestly, I love it. I love it. The players are not afraid of it. I forgot that this was even a thing. It's been so long since I've casted on it. We're on Submarine.
My God.
It's beautiful.
And it's a Zerg player on Submarine, and it's a non-CVC on Submarine.
Yeah, there's no Terran either, so... Oh boy.
It's definitely a bit of a doozy, and here's hoping that Stats is gonna be able to defend against this. Solar is respecting him enough to not try anything too cheeky early on.
Yeah, I mean, again, Stats, he led this through the veto process, so clearly he's comfortable on this map. The majority of the Korean players are, which is, again, what I love about casting ESL Asia. They are not afraid whatsoever of this map.
Yeah, this map in the current map pool, I believe it was Everdream in the last one?
What? Purity in Industry.
Purity in Industry in the previous map pool. It's... Man. I feel like how you phrase that, are unafraid in the matchup, or the map in particular, for each particular matchup. And if they lose, then, well, they're in the best of 5, so...
Yeah, exactly. We got plenty more maps to go, as we do see Stats is going for a bit of a Stargate opener, and interestingly, he does not go for a Void Ray first, which is a lot more common. Instead, goes for an Oracle first.
Yeah, one of the few players who will go pure Oracle as their opening without throwing in a single Void Ray, Stats is. But we'll see if that's going to be the case. He's getting a second Oracle! Is he going to get a third?
That is the big question. Again, this has become a lot more popular in the recent weeks after I Am Katowice, more Oracle-based openings. We'll see if he gets 3. It'd be crazy if he does, but I would love to see it. It is, of course, more old-school Stats.
I just love it if he goes even beyond that. A little bit of Master Oracle. I'm staring at the production tab at the moment. And he's pretty content with 2 Oracle. He's getting a third!
He's going 3 Oracle, mate. Is he going to go 3 Oracle plus 1 Blink Stalker? Like, is it coming back? Because, honestly, like, we've been casting some Latin American events, and plus 1 Blink Stalkers, like, we've seen more and more of them. I think we even saw some of that in Demi-C Weekly yesterday. So, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Ooh, nice target fire. Only 2 drones, though.
Yeah, and the Spore is going to be more than enough to chase away the rest of the Oracles. But that third Oracle is about to join the pack.
Oh, that it is. The Oracle does come out. Meanwhile, we do have a couple of decks going across the map. They are glaveless, of course. They do not have any upgrades whatsoever. They do get spotted by the Ling. Oh.
Which makes Solar think that it's gonna be mass glaves.
You know what?
No, he saw the 2 Oracles early on. He knows that it's not gonna be too committed from the ground, but even still, it can cause a lot of damage. Even target fired these queens, going for the high energy one. Bring in the Oracles to support it. This is sheer havoc.
Exactly, the Queen does go down, but it looks like there are plenty of Lings to clean up all the Adepts on the ground, as well as one of the Oracles does fall, so Solar is able to defend without losing any drones.
Well, not losing any drones to the Oracles.
Exactly. As in the end, he did lose a couple of drones to the Adepts. Meanwhile, the Lings, no, they slip in! No!
Just a pixel off that Adept was, and this is looking terrifying right now for Stats. In that time, when he was sending these Oracles back home, he decided to get a heck of a lot more gateways and not a lot of defenses.
Yeah, exactly. Now, zero mining here in the natural. Bit of an interesting decision there by the Lings. They were actually kind of chipping away at the Forge. In the end, the Lings will get cleaned up, but really nicely done by Solar. He gets a full scout in the main as well.
Yeah. And so Overseer is gonna let him continue to have a scout going on. Not do StarCraft have anything to say about it, but
man, when I said a +1 blink stalker.
Yeah. Where's the blink? Stats.
Show it to us. Show it to us.
Here's the blink.
Show us the blink.
Meanwhile, Solar going for there's the blink.
There's the blink.
As Solar goes for a very early infestation pit. What are we thinking, Light? Swarm host or quick hive?
Swarm host.
Ooh.
I'm assuming. We shall see. So what Stats is going for, and the reason why we were able to call it so much earlier, +1 blink stalker after triple Oracle. This is what Stats was doing all the time around October of last year, around like DreamHack Autumn, DreamHack Winter. Yeah, Stats was all over this, and there were Protoss players all over the place, like Pairs and Darkness as well, copying this style. But then it really fell out of fashion due to the popularity of Double Stargate Void Ray. But yeah, really interesting that Stats is bringing it back.
Yeah, he remembers that this build was kind of discovered in a bit of an unfortunate time, and he wants to give it the respect that it deserves. He sees the infestation pit.
Ooh, that he does. And with the arrival of the Hydralisk Den, it does look like Solar is looking to go into Lurkers, but Stats is going to be looking to push out across the map with his blink a lot sooner than the Lurkers are going to be available.
There's a blink quite yet. And it is possible to push too early on Submarine. You think it's going to be a good timing because the rest of the maps, you know, it's the standard timing then, but then you meet your opponent's army in the middle of a map because, oh yeah, this map is real cramped.
Exactly. As you see, the Lings, they're looking to try and do a bit of a run by, but there is a full wall off here in the natural this time for Stats. Meanwhile, we do have Blink finishing up. +1 is still a ways away. Meanwhile, the War Prism does meet up with the rest of the army.
And Seth's going to have a lot more staying power over here. I'm a little bit concerned. He has sub-sentries. He has a lot of stalkers. I don't see any other supporting units aside from the Oracles. And really, what are the Oracles going to do here?
Yeah, and what's worrisome is that there's a reason why this kind of fell out of popularity. Because of the rise
of... It wasn't just a Void Ray.
Yeah, it wasn't just the Void Ray, but it was like the rise of like Hydra Lurker Viper. And eventually, once there are enough Lurkers, it's going to be really difficult for these Stalkers to trade. Stalkers, they do so well against Roach Ravagers, but against the rest, against Hydras and Lurkers, not so much. So Stats is on a bit of a timer before he has to switch, and there we go. He's kind of given up on the attack, and he's switching into Disruptors.
Very, good read in the situation here by Stats. And Disruptors is another unit that I would absolutely favor when they're in the hands of Stats. Really good force fields here, funneling all of the Zerglings into a choke point at the moment, even keeping the Stalkers alive. Able to blink away. Unfortunately, the sentries will get taken out. But I believe the Warp Prism, yep, the Warp Prism survived.
Yeah, that it did. It was trying to harass a little bit with Zealots, but it did get cleaned up. And again, this is a little bit scary. Solar, he is slowly working on his lurkers, working on his lurker upgrades. But thankfully, as you said, Stats was able to, you know, realize what was going on, and he is trying to switch into Disruptors. They aren't ready quite yet. They're kind of being stuck right now. No, Adept, please!
That one Adept. Listen, ever since an Adept let Zergling slip in, the exact worst timing to move out with these Disruptors, but the best timing to hit with the best Purification Novas possible.
Oh my god, exactly. But you know what? He has to be so careful. There is only one form of detection here. That Observer needs to stay alive to deal with the lurkers. Meanwhile, the Disruptors are getting yoinked.
There are Super Battery really doing a good job of keeping it alive. Has to wait until that cooldown runs out. He does not have a Purification Nova available to him at the moment. Meanwhile, Stats just said, you know what? I'm going across the map. I do not favor my chances of defending going up that ramp. Not against lurkers, anyway.
Yeah, and it makes sense, but the problem is that now the production is being depowered. We have the first Robotics Bay going down, the second one is so vulnerable, and GG gets called.
Solar gonna be taking game number 1. So in the end, maybe Sats did have something to fear when it comes to Submarine.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I was looking forward to Stats playing a different style than we usually see, but we see why, you know, that kind of fell out of popularity, right? The meta does shift over time. Players get used to certain compositions, they adapt themselves, and we see Solar, like, he was perfectly, he looked perfectly fine playing against Blink Stalkers like that.
Much more than fine, honestly. He sustained a couple of losses, but can't really be helped in when you're up against Blink Stalkers like that. And in the end, was able to hit at just the right, I want to say anti-timing, but it was a pretty good timing for Solar as well. His upgrades just about finished up.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was one of those things when you're going for +1 Blink Stalkers like that, you have to hit a timing right before the lurkers come out, but Stats kind of missed it. And then he was kind of on the back foot from there. He was getting Disruptors, and the Disruptors got amazing shots, but it wasn't quite good enough. Solar outmaneuvered him. Stats tried to push up a ramp, and that's not ideal, not against lurkers.
Not at all. As we continue our series on Romanticide. LE, of course, standing for Lovers Emporium. Lovers Emporium. That's the name of my new dating website, so, you know.
What?
Stay tuned. In the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Blues player already up 1-0 in his best of 5 semifinals. He is coming out from the land of South Korea, representing KZ Gaming. KZG. We have the brightest player. We have Solar. Powered.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is red, representing Team Afrika Freaks. It is, of course, Stats.
And we got a quick little update here in the bracket light.
Oh.
Nightmare. Take out Zess 2-1.
No.
Now up against Cyan.
GG. Nicely done, Nightmare. Again, we have seen these Protoss players take down Stats. It does seem like it feels like it's Stats' worst matchup at the moment. We've seen it happen from Nightmare, Zaun, Patience. Each one of them has been able to take down Zest in these weeklies. Typically, if Zest falls, it's usually to a Protoss.
Yeah. But it's kind of funny to say. I feel like it wasn't that long ago when Zest was the PvP player, the PvP specialist. But I guess, you know, over the course of the year, has been focused on some of the other matchups, and yeah, a lot of the other Protoss players as well caught up quite a bit in PvP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how times do change. And with that, that kind of leaves things a little bit up in the air. I say up in the air, Trap is still up there, in the upper half of the bracket, still looking to be the favorite.
Say Trap is up there in the air.
In the Jin air? Not anymore.
Yeah.
Feels bad, man.
The Wing Commander?
But yeah, as a result, like I mean, Trap is still looking to be the favorite, but it's a bunch of PvPs. You know, it could still go either way. Any one of them can make it all the way to the finals.
They absolutely can, which is why Solar is going to be the one to tame all of those PvPs. Potentially, still needs to win 2 more games to advance to those finals. And I mean, it's a best of 5 series. Stats is really adaptable.
Yeah, and speaking of best of 5, speaking of maps, Submarine did go Solar's way. Now we're on Romanticide. Romanticide, a much more Protoss favored map, and we shall see what Stats decides to go for here. Again, it's very easy to get up to 4 bases, very easy to just turtle up and get into that Sky Toss, if that is what Stats wishes.
Which is a pretty big if. Stats, I don't know what it is, and I feel like the data doesn't actually match up my anecdote here, but it feels like Stats is one of the more hesitant players to really go into Sky Toss.
Yeah, I think I would have said Trap was a little bit more hesitant than Stats. I think we've seen Stats do it a little bit more, but
yeah.
But Stats, he does have it in him to go for other things, as we just saw, right? We just saw him go into Blink Stalker play, which is something we don't usually see. And even now, he's not going double Stargate. We see the Twilight Council.
Not even open. Yeah. It's going for double Oracles. And not a single Void Ray. And with these 2 additional gateways, it seems like Stats is got to be pretty content with just going double Oracle for the time being.
Yeah, this time there is no Forge, so I don't think he's going to be going to Blink Stalkers. Again, this looks more like he wants to go into Glaive Adepts. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on this Twilight Council. If he wants to, he could also go into DTs. But there it is.
It is going to be Glaives. Putting a little bit of a Vivid here, and Solar was able to defend very well against Vivid the 2 times he did this. Will Stats be able to pull it off? So we're going for 4 gateways at the moment?
Yeah, at the moment it does seem like it. There we go, 4 gates. So again, not ultra committed. Stats is working on a 3rd base. He's just going for Glaives to, you know, keep Solar busy at home and maybe get an early lead in terms of killing a couple of drones.
Which he's definitely going to be looking for, but he's going to be playing this out pretty cautious. Without a Warp Prism, there's not really much of a way for him to reinforce this easily, so yeah, he's just gonna warp in slowly back at home and rely on his Shades to get him out of a sticky situation.
Yeah, again, because there is no Warp Prism, it isn't ultra committed, as we were saying before. That's what was so unusual about Vivid's like 8-gate style, where he went 8 gates plus a robo, and it was like, oh my god, like literally never seen that before.
Commitment.
Yeah, ladies, but yeah, didn't quite work out for Vivid. Meanwhile, ooh, I love this Solar. He did fully wall off on the natural, making sure that Stats can't shade in.
Yeah, I guess that really is the biggest thing you want to look out for when your opponent's going for Glaives Depths like this. They can just shade in and around all over town. So just closing off the entry points for them is going to do you wonders, even if it means you're not going to be able to, you know, get your base as saturated as you would like for a little while.
Yeah, definitely. And so far, Stats has been able to deal a lot of damage. He was able to kill a lot of those Lings. So far, when it comes to economic damage, only 5 drones have gone down, which honestly isn't the worst thing. The defense has been pretty good for Solar, and Solar will be able to clean everything up, and things are kind of even, question mark?
Yeah, I think Stats pulled out a little bit of hit there if we're looking at the worker counts. But Solar's on 3 bases. He's got plenty of larva available to him. Not only is he going to be able to catch up to that, he can definitely start working on his next phase, which is going to be Aspire.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit concerned
unless he cancel that.
Because of what you just said, he's still on 3 bases. Solar needs a 4th. You know, you never want to be on equal bases with your opponent, especially when they are Protoss. Finally, the 4th does get taken. Hopefully, Solar is able to keep it alive. And yeah, really interesting decision here, going for that Spire. Wait, did he cancel?
He canceled it and got an infestation pit. Yeah.
Interesting.
What are we feeling like? Swarm hosts? I feel like it will work out really well on Romanticide.
It definitely
assuming
would.
he's able to. Yeah, assuming he's able to, get a foothold on the other side of the map, though.
This is a shame, though, because Stats, he comes in with his Adepts, he's getting a decent amount of worker kills, and he scouts the Infestation Pit.
Immediately. So he's probably feeling that Solar is going for the same thing as the previous game, Hydra Lurker style, with some Ravagers to back that up. So he's going a little bit quicker into the Robo Bay this time.
Yeah, that he is, and I love this. Going forward, Disruptors will help so much, defending against ground-based compositions. I'm just really curious to see what Solar plans with this Infestation Pit. He hasn't started Swarm Host, he hasn't started Hive, he hasn't done anything with it yet. I hope that it was on purpose.
I would imagine so. What just wants to deal with the Warp Prism? Make sure that Solar, or Stats rather, doesn't have any vision on what he gets behind this. But there comes a time where you get diminishing returns, right? It's fine to reveal what you're going for, as long as you actually get it. And we do see that Solar's going for the Hive.
Yeah, interesting that he is going straight into Hive. I imagine this is going to be for, the most likely choice is Viper, and Viper will help so much against Disruptors. We saw it in game number 1, how useful their Abducts can be against the Disruptors, canceling their Novas and being able to snipe them down. But he has to be careful because there is a mass amount of Stalkers here.
Way more than the previous game. And this isn't even his final form, Stats' final form. Not too committed on any Blink Stalker plays.
Yeah, exactly. He's just getting all the upgrades. He got Glaives early on, then he got Blink, and now he's working on Charge. So yes, he will be rounding out his army quite nicely. Again, still really kind of ignoring the Sky Toss style, and now he's feeling confident enough to push out, especially with 2 Disruptors. Yeah,
and honestly, there should be a lot of opportunity for him to get these Novas to land. So you're going to be a bit more on Solar at this point to be able to react to them a little bit quicker. He does see the Disruptors are out, so he's going to sort of posture himself in such a way to be able to pre-split, but already losing quite a lot of Roaches and Ravagers here. A lot of initiative Stats to start to get, but look at that surround that Solar set up earlier.
All the links do come from around the southern side of the map. Everything gets surrounded, all the Disruptors get picked off, and these links are going to be able to chase down these Stalkers.
I was looking at that mini-map for a little bit, Light, and I swear it feels like time slowed down just as we were starting to see those links hit. But a massive warp into Zealots coming in here, and Solar has to make a choice. Go for the attack or come home and defend, and he is forced back home to defend, which Stats is starting to take advantage of and really start to gain ground. 14 drones have been taken out, Light.
Exactly. Game-ending damage is being done right now. It looks like Solar will get on top of the Disruptors, so he will be able to pick both off. Nice win, so he wins the main fight. But again, the Zealots are dealing so much damage here. They do not get cleaned up. They're going into that mineral line once again. Thankfully for Solar, there's nothing here. Oh no, there's a Queen, so more damage will be done.
There was a Queen.
Yeah, there was a Queen.
And if only Vipers had auto turrets.
That's
actually a terrible idea. I hope they never get it.
Meanwhile, I love this
single Hydra.
Yeah, he yoinks and he's going to be able to deal with the Warp Prism. Nice hero Hydra there. What's important is that the Hydras are coming out. Lurker Den is done. We still don't have any Lurker upgrades. Solar needs to buy a little bit of time to finally get his his upgrades underway. But he may be looking to just try and end the game before that.
Yeah, he's got double the army supply right now. This might not be the ideal place to fight, but that's dependent on whether or not Stats throws Purification over us!
Oh my god.
And only gets a single Morphing Ravager. That was pretty good, but Solar cannot. I stand corrected. Solar can overstay his welcome because the pre-splits are just that fire.
Exactly, and we'll see how good the dance is. Who's going to land first, the Abducts or the Feedbacks, the High Templar? They do get them off! Only one though.
Yeah, there's still a Viper that is on full energy. Beautiful Purification Nova. And another one, which is even better. The target firing coming down from Stats right now is absolutely ideal. And Solar, man, he really could have gone either way there. Attack or buy himself some time to get the Lurkers out. But I guess he just didn't like the idea of stats being on equal basis for too long. GG. That's
GG.
gonna even that out.
Exactly. GG gets called. Stats so on point with those feedbacks. I believe only 2 abducts in the end went off, and 2 abducts was not enough. Immediately, all the energy was gone on those Vipers. Stats was on point. He takes the game, ties up the series.
GG.
Wow.
So okay, I think it was possible for Solar to, wait until getting into the lurker phase. I mean, I'm just looking at the stream right now because they were both on even bases, which is not what you want as a Zerg player. And I see. Okay, he didn't have enough of a bank.
Yeah, I was about to say that
really get into lurkers.
Basically, if he waited and tried to get into lurkers, stats would have
overtaken.
Yeah, he would have gotten out of hand. So it was either Solar end the game then and there, or just ultra turtle up, and even then it was very risky to try and pull off.
Yeah, you can't really do that as a Zerg player. But regardless, we are now going into our King match, as both players are even, tied up 1-1 in the best of 5 semifinals here on PvZ Gold. LE. Holding up the rest of the current map pool. Also LE. I just noticed that Dante deemed the crew, please. So potentially. No, I think she's covering GSL. Anyway.
She currently has no internet.
Oh, well. That's difficult to pull that off. Well, anyways, we are now on the bottom left-hand corner map. Starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner map is a Blues player representing KZ Gaming, KZG. He is Sola.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is red. He is representing Team Afrika Freaks, tying up the series. We're tied up. We are 1-1. Sideways, it is Stats.
Oh.
Oh boy, and we'll see how this goes here. Again, Stats has been utilizing this style of his to great effect, really avoiding double Stargate play, avoiding Void Rays altogether, just committing to double or triple Oracle. And yeah, it's been working out well for him.
I guess the question then is, how many Oracles this game?
Right? At least 2.
Probably. Or you could skip it out entirely.
Yeah, of course, massive shout out to Daunted in the chat. He is redeeming a crew, please. It's a little bit unfortunate. Kuro's internet is currently down, and I believe her ISP, is that service provider, gave her an ETA of 3 hours, 3.5 hours until it comes back up.
Is it because of the winter?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm imagining it's because of like the snow. I don't know if it actually snowed.
I would imagine it's if the internet goes down like this, because typically the infrastructure should be ready for snow. Maybe like there was an accident, maybe like an internet tower like went down, or like a node in the neighborhood went down or something.
Because of snow?
What is it with you and snow, man? You're like, it's this thing that I've never seen before. It has to have done something, right? It's dangerous. I'm afraid.
I don't quite understand it, so should be cautious about it.
Oh god. My ZVP matchup, it's 20%. Oh, it's the snow, right? It's the goddamn snow, mate.
It's too cold.
Oh god. Alright, here we go. So unfortunately we will refund you those points, Daunted, as Kuro is currently unavailable. But if she does become available at some point during this broadcast, we'll bring her on.
I tell you how else you can spend those points though. Guy indeed! A stat! He made a Void Ray.
Oh my god. He's crazy. He's playing standard.
Man. He's actually playing to the meta this game.
There you go.
In the opening, anyway.
Yeah, in the opening, which again makes sense on this map. We do have the Void Ray coming out first. It's going to be dying a bunch of Overlords. Meanwhile, Solar is looking to slip into the main base. Again, he's been able to do so throughout this series, but ooh, maybe try and get the probe. Huh.
Oh. Doesn't quite get it. But that probe isn't going to be thrown down to the third base just yet. Now it's here.
It is here, and Solar is forced back with his Lings. And so far, we'll see if this Oracle can deal any damage for stats. He does send it across the map, but there are Spores ready, there are Queens ready. It's going to be really difficult to do so. Hopefully, he's able to keep it alive. And mate,
he actually is.
Mate,
gets one kill and backs right on there. Even gets a creep tumor. That's not the damage that Stats wanted to get, but it's way more than he should have. Because he is going for a very early fleet beacon.
Then not just that. So first I saw the Stargate. I'm like, oh my god, he's going double Stargate, mate. He's doing it. He's doing it. He's not just going double Stargate. He's going full Pocket Mic right now. He's going full meme mode, full Vivid even. Oh my god.
That's why we had the disclaimer earlier on. Stats is playing standard for now.
And to be fair, this is a lot more standard to what we've been seeing from Stats. Again, like abusing those Void Rays is a lot more commonplace, as he's getting +1 flyer attack. He's getting double Stargates. Oh my god, he's going straight into the carriers.
Yep. You were thinking he was gonna get early Flux Veins. No way. This is Stats we're talking about.
Yeah, he actually is going full Pocket Mic. I love it.
It's beautiful.
Oh my god. So obviously there are weaknesses to this. Early on, Stats has very minimal units to defend, so a big Queen push or a big Hydra timing would 100% work against Stats. The problem is that because Stats open up with a Void Ray, Solar has no idea. He has no scouting information whatsoever of the main.
Really does not. I guess it's also kind of why every now and then we'll see a bit of a safer variation where the Protoss player also goes for a bit of an earlier Robo-Bane facility. Here comes the Overseer, and it gets just about everything it needs to see. Solar, he is going to be preparing for the next 2 minutes for a massive Nidus.
Yeah. As soon as he saw the carriers, he immediately started the Nidus. He is looking to end the game ASAP before the carrier count gets out of control. He's making Queens, he's making Hydras, he's working on his upgrades, he's looking to hit as soon as possible. And Stats is going across the map with his carriers. More importantly, he has to prepare at his third. He has to prepare to defend.
Harassing carriers.
Yeah, I mean, he can always recall.
Yeah, he definitely can. It's not quite as good as BC Teleport because, you know, it's super expensive and whatnot, and it has a long cooldown, but it is something available to Stats.
Exactly. And here we go. The Nidus is on the way. Stats, his carriers are out of position. What is the defenses? What are they looking like? There's a single shield battery in the mineral line. This is not enough. There's nothing at the natural.
I'm fairly certain this is going to be it.
Oh boy, we even
have throwing down some drones so he can make spore crawlers.
Yeah, I love this from Solar. It's like he's playing out a ZVZ when he scouts Spire Tech and he's just going straight for it. Oh my god, the force fields are actually on point. A lot of the Hydras are going to be going down.
Yeah, honestly, they cannot quite get close enough to these Skytoss units, but the interceptors are dropping quicker than drop bears. And there we have it. These carriers are complete sitting ducks. Solar doesn't quite have muscular augments yet, but I don't think that's going to matter. He does not need to really travel too much of a distance with his Hydras to be able to get right in the middle of these, I almost said centaurs, carriers.
Yeah, exactly. So far, Stats has been able to keep the majority of his probes alive, which honestly is pretty impressive, but it looks like he will lose the third base. Can Stats somehow hold here? He's trying to focus down the Nidus, but ooh, the transfuses are on point. Solar, he's going to be pushing into the main. Sorry, into the natural.
Absolutely on point. He's going to be pushing into natural, and he should be pushing into the main as well, unless Stats concedes before then.
Yeah, and what's important is that, like, Solar, he's even droning up a little bit. He feels safe enough to drone up. There it is. He's throwing down a couple of Evo chambers as well. He's getting ready for the next stage, which means that he doesn't have to overcommit. He's content with just containing his opponent to 2 bases.
Absolutely. And sure, Stats does have defender's advantage, but with only a 2-base economy, what is he really going to get right now? These ults don't have a charge. The interceptors are starting to go down once again. He is target firing the queens, which have higher energy. But the transfuses do manage to get out. We are starting to approach critical mass of interceptors, unless we're not.
Yeah, as the spores are going down, Solar, he is forced to give up this position. But again, the damage was done. He was able to kill the base and spread creep as well, so it's going to be even more annoying to try and expand. Now, the question is, what is Stats going to be able to do from here? Because I imagine Solar's going to be throwing down more Nidus. It's going to try and keep Stats at home. I don't know if Stats will have the opportunity to go across the map and counterattack with his carriers.
Well, unless he wants to meet a faceful of Hydras.
Mm-hmm.
That's fistful also counts.
That's exactly what we got. We got a face.
Yeah.
Face of Hydras.
Yeah. Bristly.
Boy, oh boy. All right, the Observer does come out, so it looks like this creep will be dealt with. And if I were Stats, there's a couple of different ways that you can go at this, right? You can go full Zest mode and just turtle up and slowly expand, and especially because you have all these carriers, right? You're kind of safe to do so. And you can just turtle Protoss, or you can be a little bit more aggressive and make something happen, but it's so much more risky because he's pushing out into the middle of the map. Storm is not ready. Oh no. Oh no, this High Templar.
Speaking of risks.
No. The High Templar. They're so vulnerable.
Solar has now noticed the position of Stats' army. He was setting up a flank here, but he doesn't even need to, honestly. Stats is not fighting to that position, so he has enough supply to really deny that third base once more. If Stats can't get a third up, he is not going to have anywhere near enough of an economy to be able to sustain this. Storm did finish up, and that is helping the zoning so much. Even with muscular augments, it takes quite a while for these Hydras to split away or kite away from the Storm.
Yeah, and will Stats be able to do this? He's basically 2-base all in, and he is not stopping. He just turned almost all of his High Templar into these Archons to help deal more damage to these Hydras. And can he do it? Is he doing it?
Just barely, not at the moment. Needs a couple more reinforcements. Scary part is Banelings have finished up, and Stats is very much relying on these chargelets as his buffer. But he might be able to take them out before they morph in. It is so close at the moment. The interceptors, a lot of them are falling.
Oh my god, he's doing it.
Still up. He is actually doing it. Look, supply for Solar fall. Question mark. Toss.
I was the same way. Question marks in the chat. Toss Imba.
GG in the end.
Mate.
But never forget, toss Imba.
2-base against 4-base. Mate, you just need 2 bases. That's what you need.
Wow.
I feel for Solar there. Solar, oh god.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sitting here laughing. It's hilarious to me as a Terran player who doesn't have to face this, but like, as a regular Zerg player.
Well, like, Solar
How
played,
does that feel?
Solar played that out for the most part well. He definitely overstayed his welcome outside the natural. As we saw, I assumed that he was just going to try and contain his opponent for 2 bases and then just leave, you know, ASAP. But he lost a lot of Hydras when Solar pushed out of his natural. Sorry, when Stats pushed out of his natural. And that hurt. That hurt quite a bit there. And he was not ready at home. He didn't have any spores ready. He just had Hydras and Lings. He didn't have Baneling speed, and it just, mate, High Templar and carriers, that's all you need.
Yeah, I really don't think he was expecting Stats to push out too soon. Even then, when he scouted the army move across the map, I think he was thinking, okay, if I attack this third base, you know, Stats, you cannot stay on a 2-base economy if you want to stay in this game much longer. You have to come home and to defend. Yeah, exactly. And Sat said, you think I want this game to go on much longer? That's cute.
Well, the thing is that the problem is that when Solar denied the third, he forced that stand. Like, when that happened, because you're right. Like, Solar must be thinking, oh my god, if I kill the third, he can keep going in the game. And he was right, because Stats just went all in from there, you know? Like, he was forced to just go across the map, and Solar wasn't ready for it. He pulled the patience.
I feel those are my favorite types of games to watch, to be honest. Those games where you think, all right, I'm doing so well. I'm like keeping my opponent in such a low economy. And then something just snaps in their opponent and they say, I'm going to kill you now. And it works out. When they force the trigger to be pulled, oh my god. Somebody please compile that StarCraft highlights. Anyway, that's enough about that tangent. Here we are on Oxide LE. We be breathing, we be oxidizing, and in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, swatting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. Honestly, things are really looking up for him. He still looks like he is in fantastic form in the ZVP matchup. Just little things here and there that cost him a couple games. He is representing KZ Gaming, KZG. He is Solar.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is Red, representing Team Afrika Freaks. Already up 2-1 in this best of 5 series. Just needs one more win to close it out and go to the finals. It is Stats.
Shaking my head. I think Dreamer Toss here in chat points out, makes a pretty good point. Maybe it's not Toss Imba, but more Stats Imba.
I guess. Yeah. Solo just making a little bit too many mistakes there. Like, again, he played the beginning out beautifully, right? With the Nidus and killing the third base and forcing Stats on 2 bases. But you can't be too greedy, which is what what Solar was. You know, you have to be aware that your opponent only has a couple of ways, a couple of win conditions, right? Available to them. You have to really take them into account.
That's just another dimension that I think I'm not capable of. Like, what is my win condition? That's barely enough for me to handle when I'm playing.
Yeah. Aye.
Just goes to show you why these players exist on an entirely different level than I do.
Yeah, like, well played by Stats. He takes the lead in the series, and again, he only needs one more, and that's terrifying because we mentioned it at the beginning of the series. If you want to avoid that PvP finals, give your energy to Solar. He is the last remaining non-Protoss in the entire tournament.
Really is. It used to be Bjorn.
And Solar put an end to that.
But then Solar beat Bjorn.
Which, to be fair, I don't know if I feel like Bjorn wouldn't have fared any better here.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, like his TVP is.
Stats is absolutely on point so far in the series anyway, but even before this in the bracket, he took out the likes of Armani 2-0. He is definitely looking to be in better form than what we normally expect from him. Not quite peak stats yet, but I think he's saving that for when he plays the GSL.
Yeah. Could be. Meanwhile, we do see he is opening up, as he has been throughout this entire series. He is opening up with the Stargate. We do see a Void Ray once again, and we may see him, now embrace the Sky Toss after that game. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Show me more Stargates.
Now, when you say embrace the Sky Toss, do you mean specifically like you just want him to go double Stargate in general, or do you just want more carriers?
Double
more
Stargate double Stargate in general. But I gotta send that vote to Paco Mike. It's gotta. I know he'd get a real kick out of it.
Yes, I'm telling you, it works. Stats has vindicated me.
Oh god, feels bad, man. But we do see Stats, he is doing, okay, he's backing off from that. We have seen him do this throughout this series. He is going for a Twilight Council after the Stargate, a couple more gateways, so it looks like he wants to go into Glaives again.
Yeah, which I'm not sure I really feel about that. I feel like when Stats won in the Romanticide game, it was less to do with his opening and more to do with finding a really good anti-timing to hit Solar at.
Yeah.
And then forcing Solar into an all-in. But, I mean, Oxide is a very different map from Romanticide. There's definitely a lot more paths open for him to attack, even if one of them is more ideal than the others. Definitely.
So we'll see what his plan is, because right now we do see it's not hyper committed. Still, there's only 4 gateways alongside Glaives, so he's looking to just apply a little bit of pressure, get some damage done, but follow up from there. And I would imagine, as we've seen from him, he's probably going to go into Disruptors after this. That seems to be his go-to, but we'll see.
That's a safe bet, honestly. You would normally expect your Zerg opponent to get at least some amount of Roach Ravager out to help them against your Adepts.
Yeah, and Disruptors are the more versatile unit to use, other than the Immortals. The Immortals do hard counter Roaches, but Disruptors do also work well against Hydras, against Queens, against Lurkers, so they're a nice transition unit, as we do see all the Adepts going across the map. Interestingly, this is, yes, of course, without Robo, no Warprism.
Yeah, this isn't Vivid we're talking about.
Oh boy. As they're just poking and prodding, waiting to commit to one of these shades. They did force a bit of lost mining time. Oh, there's actually a full wall.
Yeah, once again, from Solar, but maybe getting it a little bit too early. It means that these Roaches aren't available in the front lines.
And with that, Stats backs off. You know, he just goes back home with his Adepts and immediately starts Blink.
Yeah, that's the advantage of not being too committed. Ladies.
Is that what you want to be saying? Oh god.
www.loversemporium.com.
Oh god.
I'm not gonna make that. I have no knowledge of. Oh, maybe I could get Milk to do it.
It's not a good business strategy.
Websites.
It's not. It's not worth it, mate. It's not worth it. Meanwhile, Solar, he is doing Solar things. He's marching his queens across the map, going across with Red Ravager. And what's a little bit worrying is that, again, I assumed that Stas was going to go into a Robotics Bay from those Adepts, but he's not. He is pumping out those Immortals, so it's going to be that much harder to defend against this push.
It really will. Even with the best force fields in the world, there are still 4 or 5 Ravagers here for Solar. We'll be able to battle him down. Stats being a little bit conservative when it comes to utilizing them. He knows that they can be battled, but that's not the best position.
Oh god, not at all. Meanwhile, Solar's trying to push into the natural overcharge, is being used to help keep that natural wall up and running, and so far the force fields have been on point, and Stats has been trading pretty well. Oh god.
He absolutely has. Splitting beautifully against the Corrosive Biles too. A couple of these Roaches start to trickle in, but the Zerglings coming in. I thought they were gonna flank, but unfortunately a little bit too move commanded over there.
Same. I was shocked when I saw the Lings just run past the army. I'm like, no, the move command. All the Lings get taken out, and Solar, he's really struggling to make any progress here. He just can't make it up the ramp, up either ramp.
That he cannot. To be fair, I guess Stats couldn't really get a CranKy for the longest time either, but that does not matter in the end. GG is called, and Stats is going to be your first finalist of ESL Open Cup number 63, Code Asia. GG, and you know what that means, Light. We have nothing but PvP for the rest of the tournament.
I was about to say, everyone strap yourselves in. GG, as Yaku just said, we have nothing but Protoss left. Nothing but PvPs. That is it. That's all we've got. Okay.
Honestly, Light, I'm looking forward to it in a sick kind of twisted kind of way.
Right. I said it in the beginning of the tournament. We're home, mate. Like, this is the ESL Open Cup Asia we know and love when there's nothing but Protoss left.
Absolutely, especially because, ooh, Cyan took out Nightmare 2-1.
Wow, really well done there, Cyan. Again, it's one of those things, mate. It's PvP. Like, it's it's a lot more up in the air than even Protosses would like.